Today we are making chili. So I've got about 1 to 2 pounds of hamburger meat in here. I'm going to put some seasonings in it. It's still frozen, so but it'll be alright. I'm going to start off with some parsley flakes. This is just to season the meat as it cooks. Alrighty, we're going to do some black pepper. We're going to do just a little bit of the Himalayan pink salt, not a lot.
Himalayan? I mean Himalayan.
Then, I said Himalayan. And then I'm going to do garlic powder. Then we're going to do onion powder. Excuse me. Pepper got up my nose. Then we are going to do some chili powder. Alrighty. And then I'm going to stir this up, kind of get that seasoning on all the meat. And then we're going to stick a lid on it and we're just going to let this cook. I may stick a lid on it to help it defrost faster, but we're going to let this meat brown up and cook. Alrighty, so just about all of the meat is browned, is thawed out and browned up. So next step is to drain the meat. Some people don't like seasoning the meat as it cooks because they think that, oh, when you drain it, you're draining the seasoning. I don't believe that because you may drain some seasoning with the grease, but for the most part, the flavoring of the seasoning cooks into the meat. Now that I've drained the meat, I'm going to put it back in there. And we're going to start adding the tomato stuff. Alrighty, so first thing we're going to add is the tomato puree. Just dump it right on in there. Alrighty, we're going to cut this back down to about medium low. Alright, then we're going to add diced tomatoes with garlic and olive oil. Alright, then we are going to add 2 cans of mixed chili beans. Alright, we're going to mix all this together. Alright, so now I'm going to add a little bit of chicken broth. Just make sure it's not like super thick because it will thicken as it cooks. Alrighty, mix that in. See, it's still thick. Alright, now we're going to add the seasonings again. So we're going to start off with the parsley. And then black pepper. Garlic powder. Alrighty. Onion powder. Chili powder. A good bit of chili powder because we want it to taste like chili. And this last one you don't have to add, but we like it with a little kick, so I'm going to add some ground cayenne pepper. And then I'm going to stir all this in. And then we're going to let it simmer. Alright, while the chili is simmering on a meat on a low, I got it on like number 3, I'm going to make cornbread. So I got my cast iron skillet, and I'm going to take, you can use Crisco. I like using the tallow, which is just like when I drain unseasoned hamburger meat or whatever, and then I freeze it. This is just beef oil, grease, whatever you want to call it. And you just want to rub it all over the pan. This helps the cornbread to not stick. You want to cover it all completely. Get every crack, crevice, all of it. Rub it all over. And once you get all the bottom covered, you start kind of doing the sides. Okay, and then what I do is I just drop like a little couple extra. And I made this tallow and I just like leave it in the freezer when I need it, and then I get some out. Alright, and then you just want to stir this every so often just to make sure it's nothing's sticking. Nothing should stick, but just in case. Just give it a good stir. Okay. So I've got it buttered, or not buttered. Covered. Now I'm going to season this. So I'm going to put some black pepper. Just sprinkle it all on the bottom. This will cook into the bottom of your cornbread. Makes it taste really good. It gets that outside crust, that little bit of flavor. Oh. I'm doing garlic salt. I'm almost out of this. I have to get my other one. Yeah, I gotta get my other one. Alright, so I got my other one out now. There we go. Sprinkle it all on the bottom. Can't really get the sides much, so I just do it on the bottom. Alrighty, and then we're going to put this in an unpreheated oven. It is not preheated. Alright, now we're going to do bake. We're going to do it at 450 and let it preheat. While it preheats, we are going to make the cornbread mix. Alrighty, so start off, got my bowl. I'm going to use this Pearl Milling Company self-rising cornmeal mix. Alright, I'm going to use my half cup measuring cup. And I got this I like to do, let's see, it's a half to 1. Half, 2 and a half. I do 2 and a half cups of that. And then I do 1/4 cup of sugar. Alright, so I need about 1/4 cup of this olive oil. I don't want to use my 1/4 cup because that's what I use for my sugar. So I'm going to use this. It's marked to, you can see it has the little half marking on the side. So I'm just going to do halfway up to the half mark. Because half of a half is a quarter. Alright, I gotta grab my other oil. Alright. Going up to the halfway mark. Alright, now I'm going to pour that in here. Then I'm going to add 3 eggs. 2, and 3. Throw these away. All right, then I'm going to mix this up. I like busting the yolks and mixing this up before I ever put the buttermilk or regular milk or anything in it. All right, so I've got the egg and oil mixed in. So now I'm going to add my homemade buttermilk. Pour some in and then stir it in. Oh. Alright, see now it's getting a little thick. A little too thick, so I'm going to add a little more buttermilk. I don't measure. The recipe on the back of the bag always says, I think it's like a cup or 2 cups of buttermilk. Or milk or whatever. Alright. Just scrape the sides, make sure there's no hidden pockets of flour. Alright, you want it to be like the almost like pancake batter consistency. That's about what we've got. So now we're going to let this just kind of sit here. If you want to make Mexican cornbread, you can add a can of cream corn and a little can of green diced chilies or diced green chilies. You do that before you add the buttermilk because the cream corn and stuff will get add and the juice from the chilies will add to the liquid. I'm just doing regular cornbread today. So now we're going to let this sit until the oven is preheated and our pan is preheated. Alright, the pan is preheated, so now I'm going to pour this in. Try to do this. Or if you could hear it sizzle just that little bit. Alright, I'm going to finish making this in here. Alrighty, I got it poured in. There's a couple of spots that weren't mixed in. I'm just going to kind of put them in it. I'm going to put this back in the oven and set the timer for about 30 minutes. While the cornbread cooks, we are going to taste the chili and make sure it doesn't need any other kind of seasonings. Okay, so I tasted it. It tastes pretty good. I'm going to put a little bit more chili seasoning in it. I want it to taste just a touch more like chili. Should be good. I'm going to mix this in. And I'm going to let it simmer for a little longer. Then I'll taste it again. It should be just about right. Alrighty, so we've tasted it. It tastes good. All you do after, just before serving is you can throw some cheese in here, which we did. And you can throw some sour cream in here, which we did. And just put however much. See, there's the cheese. And just mix it in. Just put however much your heart desires. And it is good to go. Okay. So, at about, when you got 10 minutes left on the timer, you'll want to start checking the cornbread. It's depending on how your oven does and all that kind of stuff is how long. I ended up stopping it at 7 minutes. Now I'm going to rub some butter on the top as it kind of cools. So, ideally, you'll want the cornbread to cool down a good bit before you cut into it. But we can never wait that long, so I always end up cutting it as soon as this butter melts on the top. Just rub it all on top. Let that butter melt on the top. Give the crust a good thing. And then as I cut the slices, I'll cut them open and butter the inside of each piece. Alrighty. All I do to cut it is I just go straight from the handle, straight, and just like that. In the middle of all those, and then in the middle of those. And then as you pull that out, bam. And then I just cut it on the side and put some butter in it, and it's good to go. So there's my cornbread.